Welcome, everybody, to another of the Five Line Podcast. I'm Kevin, your host, and it's good to be back with you guys. I'm here with Camrin.
Hello.
And that's it, because we're lonely.
Because we're lonely.
We're lonely.
We don't have any more friends.
We don't have a dedicated crew.
We don't have any more friends.
We lost them all.
They all left us.
And since they left us, we dragged our sorry asses to the theater and saw Sonic 2.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Oh, yeah.
Don't want anybody thinking it's like the second location of the restaurant. No.
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog Restaurant 2. Speaking of which, well, I know we've talked about this a little bit before, without recording, but why hasn't Sonic fucking, done promotion with Sonic the Hedgehog? The restaurant, that's such wasted potential.
I wonder if they ever have. At some point, if the Sonic restaurant ever actually did something with Sega where they sold Sonic toys.
I'm pretty sure they did once, and you remember those, little, they call them Tiger Flash games, but they're the little frame-by-frame pixel games.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Crazy Monkey Ball one. They had a Sonic-themed one. They had a Tails-themed one, and...
They had Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, they had Crash Bandicoot as well, and Spyro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, they did it once, I think. If that was, Burger King, I'm pretty sure it's either Sonic or Burger King.
Yeah.
Because McDonald's wouldn't do anything like that.
McDonald's, though, did have some fire toys at times.
Burger King has better toys than
McDonald's. One thing that really made me mad with McDonald's toys is one time they had, Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you could collect.
Yeah.
They were straight fake cards.
You could not use them?
You could not use them in tournaments.
So what's the point?
That's what I'm getting at. That's why it was ass. It's funny, though, because I had convinced somebody to trade me his Dark Paladin. It was, he had an ultra rare Dark Paladin. Ultra rare not being that it's an ultra rare card, but just the style, because it had rainbow on it or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had an ultra rare Dark Paladin, and I had an original art Dark Paladin that was a McDonald's toy card. And I convinced him to trade me.
You're a monster.
I am
I would have kicked a kid's ass. The next day, I'd have been like, alright, I got gypped.
I still have that Paladin, too.
That's badass. Sonic the Hedgehog, though.
Yeah.
They've had quite a legacy in the video games, and we're not just talking about the newest movie.
They had quite a legacy in the original CGI showing of Sonic the Hedgehog.
You mean the first trailer?
Yeah, the very first.
Oh God, that monstrosity! God, I remember when that first came out. Everybody was like, "Why does he look so bad?
Yeah,
what the fuck is that?"
That movie company got bullied into changing his design entirely.
If we're being completely honest, I think it was the most genius marketing strategy they've ever pulled.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I don't think that they made the first design of Sonic. I don't think they made the full movie with that design in mind.
You don't think so?
I think that they put that out as to test and push buttons with the audience and be let's make their expectations as low as possible by giving out a really bad trailer, and once the rise comes up of hate, we'll submit, and they had that all on standby to be
You think it was straight just a big old marketing?
Oh, dude, I guarantee you, it's a huge conspiracy because it's genius.
Yeah,
Nobody would ever really think about it that way.
No.
They would just think, a company put out a really shitty movie because they didn't realize what the demographic would be for. But I think Sega knew, and they were like, our demographic's so strict, they wouldn't let this push. So let's get their expectations as low as possible. So when we change it, we'll not only get people in the theater because they helped change the design, but people, it can't possibly be as bad now that the design's changed. Yeah. So, I mean, if that was the way they were doing it, dude, it fucking worked.
Yeah.
It really did. And if they didn't change the design, I think Dr. Robotnik in itself, I think he carries the movies, honestly.
Jim Carrey does an amazing job in these movies.
He really takes it,
oh, yeah.
And goes. He just runs with it.
Yeah, he does so well. And the first Sonic movie, I liked it. I really liked the first Sonic movie growing up as a really big Sonic lore fan kind of thing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the first movie a lot. I didn't think, it was too far stretched. I can see it like we've talked about it before with like Uncharted, video games becoming movies. You know, you're not gonna. A lot of movie companies don't want to show the same thing twice when fans know what the video game is, but they did a really good job doing it this route with Sonic.
And they didn't even... Sorry. The thing that I really like, because I not only watched the second Sonic movie today, but I also watched the first one, because I fell asleep first time. Whenever I hear a video game movie's coming out, my expectations hit the floor. Because I'm like... Oh God! It's another I think Assassin's Creed is what really killed
I think
it.
Assassin's Creed is what started it.
Yeah, it really killed it for me because I was like, "Damn!"
Because they had
like I'm not even a fan of Assassin's Creed,
the worst
but they
part about
messed it
Assassin's
up.
Creed is they really could have like.
It's such an easy thing to do.
They didn't have to follow any story.
No.
All they had to get right was
history.
This guy gets on the Animus and it's history.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. At that
it.
point, it's just history. But like you could, like the thing about Assassin's Creed with their fan base is they made it badass. I think this movie, like the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, right now, like as we speak, it's actually a really good video game adaptation.
Yeah.
And
I love the first Sonic movie. I thought it was great.
It gave, like, for when I first watched it, it gave off really, really bad Alvin and the Chipmunks vibes. And I don't know if you got that feeling too, but I fell asleep halfway through because of that feeling. And I woke up at the last half and I just, like, ended up leaving the movie being like, it's okay.
I know what you mean.
But the second watching, when I watched it today before the second movie, when we went to go see it, it's not that bad. No. Watching it in its entirety, like, it's fun. It's very fun. It's lighthearted, but it's not at all perfect. It has its flaws. You know, Sonic can get really annoying at times.
Yeah, well, they do display Sonic in this as a child. He is a kid. Yeah. You know, so he has no maturity whatsoever, and the fact that he had been alone his entire life,
Pretty much.
Yeah, he'd been alone his entire life, and the only like contact he has is making up friends in his head and watching society in the shadows.
Yeah, which I thought was really like cool to see that.
Yeah.
Like to see him keep his sanity basically on how he like plays with himself. Keep insanity by playing with yourself happens to the best of us. But no, it was actually really entertaining, like that baseball scene where he's like going around the fucking baseball field because he watched a baseball game and he was like reenacting what he saw.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
I also liked all the parts with Robotnik because he steals that fucking movie. Like, Jim Carrey chews on that scenery. Every scene he's in, he is eating the environment. He is like working with it. He's dancing off of it. He's fucking like, he's just chewing that scenery.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love that he's taking advantage of like, this is kind of a dumb synopsis. They're not taking the movie seriously at all. I dig that. Yeah. I dig the fact that the Sonic the Hedgehog movies don't take themselves seriously, because if they did, it would have failed.
Yeah.
There's no way you can make a plot like this at all serious. It's got to be lighthearted and funny.
Yeah, it's got to be lighthearted, comical, and
you put a movie like this in the hands of Fox, and 21st Century Fox, or Disney, I guess now. Yeah. But if you put it in their hands, it would have been really edgy.
Yeah.
Like, really edgy and, like, really serious.
They would have tried
humor.
Yeah. Which gets mentioned a lot here in the second movie. At the second movie, they introduced Tails and Knuckles, which they were amazing in the second movie.
Yeah.
I thought they did a really good job.
Oh, yeah. Idris Elba's a fucking amazing actor.
Yeah, Idris Elba did a really good job, and Knuckles mentions a lot to Sonic. He was like, "Why are you always joking?" Like,
I love... well, before we get into it, what would you rate... What's your favorite scenes of the first one? What would you say could have been, like, left out?
My favorite scene in the first one would probably be definitely when Sonic is full on fighting Robotnik.
Okay.
The
so
fight
when he's, like,
scenes
in the
are
ship,
really good.
when he's in the ship at the end?
Yeah.
Because the movie, because we haven't gone over it, is about basically Sonic, like, he had to leave his homeworld because his master got killed by a tribe.
Yeah, of
echidnas on their home planet. So,
and it's because the owls and echidnas had been at war.
Yeah, she sent him to Earth because apparently it was like on the farthest reach of the universe.
Yeah,
and so she was like, "It's the farthest away from all these people. I need to send you there. Here are the stack of rings," which I thought was really neat. I thought with like the fact that they had a prominent role, like the rings of Sonic had a prominent role with like
teleportation and all that.
Yeah, and it's even explained that like only not God, but like kings and celestial beings can use these rings to teleport to like different parts of the universe.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. But it does have its falling out moments. Like, I think a lot of like the bar fight scene was cool.
Yeah.
But if you just like, it kind of dragged on just a little too much. There were points in this movie where I felt like you're dragging on, but it's a Sonic movie, so it doesn't drag on for long. It's pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad movie at all. If at first, when I first watched it, I would have rated it a 4 out of 10. But after watching it a second time in preparation for this film, I'd give it a 6 or a 7.
Yeah, I'm saying about a 7 with the first movie.
Yeah.
The first movie I thought was pretty good. It was pretty well paced. You know, it was definitely made for a more child-based audience with a little bit of adult humor to bring bring joy to those parents.
Which we need to, like, I appreciate that this movie doesn't like censor alcohol.
Yeah.
Or guns. You know, they keep that based in reality, and I feel like that's because they wanted people who are fans of Sonic that have grown up. I think they wanted to keep that demographic, so they didn't want to just full-on child lock this fucking series.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they had a lot of adult jokes in the first Sonic movie. I thought was funny, because most of the time they just fly over your head as a kid.
Yeah, not only that, but in the second movie, they have a lot of adult jokes as well.
Tons.
But not only that, but they have lots of, Easter egg jokes.
They actually cuss in these movies.
They cuss in the second one. Not only that, but they have like Easter egg jokes that only the more adult fans would know.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But 7 out of 10, honestly, for the Sonic film.
Solid 14 out of 20.
But I think it was great, and the second movie, even better. I thought it was way better.
The second movie is a lot better.
Yeah, no, I didn't come in with full expectations. I watched the first film in preparation, but like after sitting through it, I was like, that's good.
Yeah.
I really hope that this is going to be better than that. And
one thing that Sonic, the second Sonic movie had done right, is Ryan Reynolds had talked about this too. And I 100% agree. He was saying that like what makes sequels to hero movies or action movies like this good is the fact that now they could just kind of jump into it. There is no background or explaining have to be done anymore. There's no build up to explain
origin
how the
stories
character
are tedious at this point, because we've seen it thousands of times.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Spider-Man, Tony Stark as Iron Man. We've seen it with the Hulk. We've seen it with Batman. We've seen it with Superman. We've seen it with Green Lantern. We've seen it with Green Hornet.
Yeah.
And nobody fucking remembers that movie. But we've seen it a million times. And you may not realize it as an audience member, but this is something, unfortunately, that you've seen a million times. It's just portrayed better than a lot of directors. Like, you could feel there's passion behind these movies.
Yeah.
You could feel the love for the series. You like, even when like in the first movie when like the rings hit the floor, they made that iconic ring noise. Yeah. So I really do appreciate the amount of heart that went into the like directing these movies.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of subtleties even with like a character's body motions and like body language.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what made the second movie, in my opinion, a lot better. Was there was no build up to get to the good stuff.
So this is where we're starting out the full review.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how it starts.
So, like, it starts
off where the first one left off.
Yeah, it basically starts off where the last one
if you watch
left
the
off.
credit scenes.
Yeah, and so, you know, Sonic's new family, Donut Lord and his wife.
Donut Lord and Pretzel Woman.
They end up going to some wedding, leaving Sonic in the house alone by himself. Sonic, being a kid, makes a mess, causes havoc, does stuff like that, but him being super fast and being somewhat responsible keeps it clean.
Him being
like
a kid,
whenever they call,
him being a kid seemed forced at first, because I don't like the whole like, you're our kid now.
Yeah,
that's one thing I kind of don't like about these movies so far, is like Sonic now has parents, I guess you could say. And I think, like, any film where, like, a hero's being a hero and they have that guardian of, like, you gotta be responsible. You're just a kid. That's cliche. It's been done 1,000 times. Yeah. But in this film, it's still, like, kind of like pounded into your head, like, oh, you're not Sonic yet. You're still just a kid.
Yeah.
And it's pounded into the audience's head that, like, oh, he's just a kid. He doesn't know what he's doing. In parts of it, though, it's really subtle.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about it, is because, like, when Sonic is acting like all ADHD or like hyperactive and like not wanting to calm down, he's like a child.
Yeah.
He acts like a child. When he's like, no, I'm not tired, and then he just fucking instantly falls asleep, like, yeah, that's what a kid does.
Yeah.
And I dig that. I like those subtle portrayals and characteristics of him still being a kid.
Yeah.
I just don't like the family dynamic of what, like, he has to have this guardianship, even though he's way stronger than the humans watching him.
Yeah.
Which I don't get that. I don't understand, like, why.
It is humble, though. Like, it is really nice and cool to see, like, you know...
Like, wholesome?
Well, yeah, it's very wholesome seeing the actual family connection. Not only that, but, like, after the first movie and what Sonic had gone through, having this kind of thing definitely, like, helps his character in a sense, because it's something that he had lost and now he has back again. So he kind of has more of a purpose.
Yeah, I like in the first one how he was just, like, spying on them.
Yeah.
And when he tells them, they confront him, they're like, you were spying on us? He's like, no, I wasn't spying. It was just, like... there, I just wasn't invited and nobody knew I was there. But like, I was there. I wasn't spying. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
That's what they all say, son.
But yeah, and then and then it shows Dr. Eggman does a whole horror thing to his house, which I thought was amazing. The whole like scary shit going on.
Yeah,
in the
I
house.
actually really like the reasoning behind why they call him Eggman in this series of movies. And I don't know if you noticed, but like in the first movie, Sonic called him Eggman because his robots were white and they were shaped like eggs.
Yeah.
So he called him Eggman. And I think that's really clever. And I love how they kept that, like, his name because all of his machines looked like eggs.
Yeah.
But in this one, they actually change up a little bit. And we'll explain that in a little. That
was really...
We'll get into spoiler talk.
That's a really good detail in that, too. But, like, well, we're kind of in a little bit of spoiler talk. But
it's not big.
But
it's just color change.
Eggman shows up, what you guys had seen in the trailer, starts fighting
back.
Sonic in the house.
How he gets back, though, is interesting.
Yeah, how Eggman gets back, of course, is he with the technology he had got trapped on the planet he was on.
Yeah.
He learned how to harness Sonic's energy from the quill that he had from the very beginning of the first movie.
He took the quill, which in the first movie is actually shown.
Yeah.
It's not even like on screen when he takes it.
Yeah.
It's on screen, but it's in the background, like, of the scene that's playing. When he hits the ship, you see all that glass shatter in the very end of the first movie of his ship, like, shattering when Sonic hits him through the portal.
Yeah.
Well, you see one of his, like, two of his quills fell off, and you see one of them land right in his lap.
Oh, cool.
Like, while the slow-mo is going on and the grass is crackling, you see, like the end of a blue quill, like, fall on his lap while the camera's panning for the glass shattering.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, wow, that's really fucking cool that they like even thought about putting that consistency in.
Yeah.
To where you catch it a second view and you're like, damn, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He uses that quill to send a giant energy blast because he figured that if he can send a giant energy blast into space, maybe it can reach something. Maybe he could find out where Sonic came from.
Which he was planning on.
Yeah. And of course a group of some like guards come out that have owl masks, but they're not
guards.
with the owls. Yeah, but they're not echidna as well.
Are they?
No, they weren't echidnas. Knuckles is the last echidna. That's like his whole
okay, all right.
Yeah.
I guess I missed that.
Yeah, but these guys come out and Eggman has these booby traps set up or whatever, gets rid of all of them, and then he goes to go jump through the ring portal they came through, and Knuckles stops him and comes out. And
it's really cool to see Eggman like frightfully back up too, because like
he was kind of scared of Sonic, and now there's a
he sees all these
creature.
like tribesmen come through basically, and he just fucking like has this all planned out. He's faking being dead.
Yeah,
and they come up trying to figure out like why he's there, who he is, and he ends up like snapping a couple wires to set off some booby traps that he had planned. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
He takes down these tribemen like they're nothing. And he ends up walking out, like, he gets up and he starts walking towards the portal and he sees Knuckles, and that's when he's like, freaks out, because he's fucking huge.
Yeah.
This thing compared to all the other tribesmen that came through is fucking huge.
Well, he's not like
Like, he's bigger
ginormous.
than them. Like, extraordinarily bigger than them.
He's not like taller than Eggman.
No,
or
he's
anything
not,
like that,
tall.
but he's much bigger than Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Knuckles is a lot bigger than Sonic. Not only that, but like, you also got to get into like Eggman's mentality. He had been forced onto that planet from a being that looks like Knuckles.
Oh my god, I fucking love the fact that like his first hand man, his name's like Rock.
Something like that.
No, his name is Rock.
It's Rock?
Yeah, it's Rock. He calls him, like, something Rock, like Commander Rock or something like that. But it's not Commander. It's like... He has a name for him.
Yeah.
But his name's Rock. I love how he, like, fucking took a fucking stone off the island he was on full of mushrooms and just, like, carved the face of that guy in it and named him Rock. I was like, okay, that's pretty funny. I'm into it. And I love how he's just been, like, because, like, this whole time he's been on here for, like, what, months?
Yeah.
Like, it's not been a full year since he's been
no,
on here,
it's just been a couple months.
Yeah, so he's been surviving solely off of mushrooms. And I just, like, that would be disgusting.
Yeah, and he's trying to make, like, mushroom coffee.
As a person who likes mushrooms.
Yeah.
I can't imagine eating it, because their defense mechanism is to make you nauseous. Like, if you eat mushrooms raw, or, like, any kind of mushrooms, doesn't matter what, you have this, like, nauseating feeling. So I can only imagine how, like, sick he must have felt drinking the water of these mushrooms.
Produce, yeah. I think, and then they're like, in this scene right here, so early, they kind of, like, already introduced adult humor. Because this is not, like, how the beginning of the movie started. It was with Eggman.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And, like, but then an adult humor scene comes by when he makes a deal with Knuckles that he's going to show Knuckles how to get the Earth and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then Eggman turns around and he's all, I'm saying goodbye to the shit-talking mushroom planet!
It was pretty good. I didn't expect, like, the amounts of adult humor that were in this movie.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate it, because it made it less boring for me. In a theater where we were surrounded by kids.
Yeah.
You know, like, we were kind of the losers coming into that theater. Because, like, every adult had a kid. And we're just there, like, a gay couple, like, yeah, we're here to see the Sonic movie.
We're gonna watch Sonic.
This is our job. But, it was a good movie. The pacing was not bad at all in either of these movies. And that's something that you can't even say about, like, Halo, the new Halo show, or, like, the fucking Morbius movie. The pacing in those all over the place. And, like, when...
Well, the thing with Morbius is it started smooth, and then it just jumped. It went so fucking fast. They skipped a lot of explanation.
That movie discouraged me.
Yeah. This one, Sonic, it was fast-paced, but it was good.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking it's, like, really good, is because, like, we just watched Morbius, and that shit fucking taste is still in our mouth.
Yeah.
and now we watch something that's, like, pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a masterpiece in comparison to Morbius.
Oh my god, by far.
And
Jim Carrey's role, he does so much better in this one than he did the first one.
He takes it, dude. He takes it.
I feel like he does better because he probably was told, so, like, because you've been on the planet for a few months by yourself, your character is going to be a bit more nutty. Yeah. And so Jim Carrey really takes that into stride and makes Eggman
he hasn't had
really
human
fucking
contact.
Nutty.
Yeah. He's just been talking with himself this whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Knuckles comes through. He makes a deal with Knuckles. He's like, I could show you, because he tells him, like, I've been searching for that blue quill you have.
Well,
like,
the creature,
where it comes from.
Yeah, the creature that
it comes
Hedgehog
from.
that it comes from.
And he's like, I'll show you where he is if you send me out of here. So that's how, like, the beginning of this movie is. So that just sets up the tone really well for, like, okay, Knuckles is, like, the main villain. He's paired with Robotnik. And obviously, there's going to be some shit in it. It's kind of a predictable film.
Yeah.
Like, well, I predicted a lot of it.
With, like, a whole Sonic history, like, you kind of get what's going to happen in the long run. But, like, the way they do it and the way they present it is real nice. They do a really good job.
Oh, yeah. So, like, the film goes on to show Sonic and his months of living as, like, a free man, basically. Of, like, living in this house with these humans, being their kid, essentially.
Yeah.
The Tom and his wife, is it his wife now?
Yeah, I think they're married. Yeah.
So Tom and his wife from the first movie, they're at a wedding in Hawaii,
while Sonic's at home alone.
So it's like a story about, a kid gets left at home. Yeah. What's he gonna do? Obviously, he's gonna fuck around, but it's Sonic. So you get to see all of his, he wants to be a superhero. It's established from the first, scene we see with Sonic, because he's stopping a bank robbery from happening.
Yeah,
which I thought
was shown in the trailer.
It was a fun scene. It was a fun scene. I thought it was really cool to see him, stopping crime, but the people he's saving being like, dude, you are not good at this at all. You are a bad hero.
And it's because Sonic's, acting childish.
He's being irresponsible. He doesn't care. I mean, imagine how scared... Because in the scene, he takes a van, a mail van, I guess.
It's a money van. It's a bank van.
A bank van. He hijacks it, and there's the person who was driving it is, duct taped in the back with the criminals that were there. Sonic clears out this fucking van of criminals by, throwing them on the road, and this guy, he's, in the back seat, has duct tape over his mouth. He's, trying to talk to Sonic. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't speak duct tape, and fucking rips off the duct tape. He was like, you need to slow down. He's like, I can't. There's no brakes.
And it's because one of the guys are laying down in front of the gas.
Yeah. So he ends up looking over and seeing a drill in the passenger seat. So he takes the drill, and he ends up unscrewing every part of this fucking vehicle, and so it tears apart, and it just slides on a base that this guy's on in the vehicle until it stops in front of a kid almost hitting him. And it was a funny scene because Sonic, he's running around trying to get out of there, and this dude's just yelling at him from a distance. He's like, you are not good at this! And I thought that was funny. I thought that was pretty good. Just to see Sonic think he's a great hero and end up fucking up. It's one of those subtle things
you didn't fuck up anybody got hurt.
No,
it was just that could have been handled a lot smoother.
Yeah, you caused a lot of damage. He blew up a sewer system in a fucking neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there could have been less expenses as it cost, but it's Sonic. So they end up going to this wedding, leaving Sonic alone in the house. And Robotnik comes back.
Yeah, Robotnik shows up. It's funny when he shows up because it turns into a horror movie scene. All the power goes off. Yeah. And Sonic tries to act all spooky with the dog.
It turned into Poltergeist for a second. Yeah. The TV shuts on, turns on, and fucking has static. Yeah.
The lights are barely flickering.
He even mentions it. He's like, I don't remember ordering any Poltergeists.
Yeah. And then there's a knock on the door while all the lights are off, a very subtle knock. And Sonic comes up to the door. He's like, if this is the pizza guy, I really don't appreciate the scare.
This is super unprofessional. He opens the door and fucking...
he doesn't open it.
No, he starts to open the door and the fucking laser cuts off the doorknob and Robotnik's there. And this is that big scene of Sonic had one job, not to fuck up the house while they're away. Yeah. He ruined it. Now it's this whole fight scene because fucking Knuckles comes into play. And I think...
beating the shit out of Sonic.
I think this is a fair part to say, what you haven't seen in the trailer is what we are going to cover now.
Yeah.
So I'd say spoiler warning.
From here on out, yeah.
But if you wanted to hear our rating of this movie, I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I would say 8 or 9, yeah.
I'd give it an 8.
It was really good.
It was better than the first film.
Yeah.
It was more action-packed. Had characters I cared about more so than the first film.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey was just 10 times better in this movie.
The CGI characters looked better.
They looked better than Morbius!
Yeah, they looked a lot flowier. They all matched really well. The character interactions between them, all seemed real.
Yeah. There are scenes in this that will maybe, grind your gears if you're not patient with it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of scenes in here you're like, oh, really? That's gonna happen? Or oh, I can't fucking get into this scene. But if you stick around and are patient enough, I think it's setting up something for a great trilogy.
Oh yeah, it's setting up big for a great trilogy, and I'm hoping from what Jim Carrey had said that this isn't gonna be his final movie. I hope he comes back as Eggman again for the third movie.
I think he does too great of a job for Eggman to not have. He looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, and I guarantee he is. I feel like one of the big reasons why he had tweeted that out though or thought about it was because of the whole Will Smith slap. I don't know if you heard Jim
Carrey
thoughts
was mad about that.
Yeah,
he was it ruined. Go ahead.
Apparently, after the smack, Jim Carrey apparently had to be guided out of the Oscars because he was really frustrated. He was angry. But they had a sit down talk with him, and they were asking him about it, talking about it, and Jim Carrey had said, with the rise of internet and stuff happening like that, us movie stars aren't the focus of entertainment anymore. We're not the top-notch dogs that we used to be way back when, beforehand, because you would get entertainment through movies.
Yep.
So we were the primary focus. But now, because of this happening and nothing... because of the slap happening and then him still winning Best Actor award after that happened and all this other stuff, it makes the Hollywood crew look like we're trash people.
Well, he got mad because he's like, it took away from all the celebrities that could have gotten like huge nominees. Like, it took away from, because people search up the Emmys this year, they don't see the winners.
No,
they see Will Smith.
They see the Will Smith,
which is understandable. Yeah. Like, if I were a celebrity, if I got an award, I'd kind of want to see a highlight of me getting an award. I get that.
Right.
So, to have like that stripped and just have this whole slap going over a joke.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't even like a terrible joke.
I would even like.
We're sitting here, we're talking about this. Like, last year, you know what fucking Seth MacFarlane did last year? He wrote an entire song with a crew where he called out female actors for seeing their boobs in movies. In the movie We Saw Your Boobs. And he was pointing out all these female actors, making it a big joke with a huge chorus singing with him in this song. And you could tell, like, it would pan to some of the actresses that he was talking about, and then you could see that they were, like, physically upset.
Yeah.
But, like, it was, in the end, it was just a big joke, and everybody knew. But I feel like that was probably more offensive than the G.I. Jane joke.
No. Well, like, I would understand, right? I would be on Will Smith's side completely if he wasn't a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like... Let's say,
I feel like,
because it's more you as a celebrity, you have a status.
Yeah,
you have a status to uphold.
I feel like what probably blew this more out of proportion. We're going off on a tangent,
but I do want to talk about this.
Yeah, I feel like what kind of blew this. We're talking about this just because like Jim Carrey was a big like name talking about it too.
Yeah, but I do want to talk. Like it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, it is an interesting conversation. I feel like I can understand both sides. I understand like. Chris Rock was just kind of like going on tangent. He was like, not going on tangent. He was making really good jokes, spitting out fire content. And he made a joke to somebody that has...
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Yeah, he made a G.I. Jane joke to Will Smith's wife, who has a
It wasn't even that funny!
Yeah,
it wasn't even that funny to begin with.
It wasn't even that funny, and with Chris Rock not knowing and him just kind of doing it, didn't know that Will Smith's wife had a hair growing disorder.
Did he not know that?
I don't think...
Because I'm pretty sure that was all over. Like...
I don't think he was 100% aware of exactly what was going on.
If he knew or not, it's still a joke.
Yeah.
And as a celebrity status...
I would have gotten Will Smith getting up and smacking him, and then maybe sitting back down, and then when it panned to Will Smith's laughing at him, like, haha, like, I slapped you. Like, that would be funny. Like, that wouldn't have taken away from all of it. No, but the fact that it cut to Will Smith, and he was screaming at him... Say, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. It made the whole
thing awkward.
Yeah, it really did. And, like, I get both sides. I understand the anger and frustration. But after he made the joke, Will Smith was laughing at the joke. Yeah, well, and the only one that had a sour taste was Jane
his wife.
Was his. I don't know if her name's Jane. I'm just kind of running with it. But
Jada, it's Jada.
Jada, that's what it is. But, like, she was the only one with, like, a sour puss face on it at first.
It's... The thing about this is, if I were in that situation and we were like at a restaurant and some fucker on a mic decided to like talk about my significant other's disease in a distasteful way.
Yeah, he didn't even like talk about her disease.
No. If he made a joke about it though, yeah, about like the shit that happened to her in a distasteful way, a civilian like, yeah, sure, you got the right, dude. You're protecting your fucking wife's status. But this is Will Smith and Jada we're talking about. They have
On
a status.
public
They have a
television-
status.
On public television, one of the most watched things with multiple actors together.
And
a professional setting is what this is.
When you're in a professional setting, you talk about it, man.
Yeah.
You have cameras on you, for one.
100%, all the time.
You have people in the audience that will not take what you do physically in the way that you took it.
Yeah.
As a celebrity, most importantly, nobody will think the same way that you do when you're a celebrity. That's just not going to happen. Everybody's going to have a problem. So I think for a joke to get that out of hand is fucked.
Yeah.
From a celebrity point of view and a normal point of view. Like, at least if you're a civilian, you're not on TV or anything. People don't look up to you.
Yeah.
But even then, I never would encourage somebody to go physical solely from a joke. No. That's just against everything I stand for.
No. Especially over
person.
something that's a joke that wasn't insane.
Yeah, no, I'm against the fact that it got physical over a joke.
Yeah.
I'm torn because I am slightly on Will Smith's side because of his wife's disability. Though it makes me detached from his side when you look at all the times they've cheated on each other. They don't love each other fully.
Well, no. So I got some history for you on this too. I did some research and looked up a little bit more about it. Understanding on some people's side, a lot of people, a lot of people think that this was kind of forced. In the sense of
Staged?
Will Smith's forced in the sense of Will Smith's wife manipulating him to do so, and the reason why it's believed, it's because it's not because of them constantly cheating on each other or any of this other shit. What it was, I guess there was it was a public thing too, a public talk between these two on their relationship. Polyamorous? When she had cheated on Will, and Will had a therapist conversation with her to get down to the nitty gritty on what was going on. And basically, from what I understand, from what I've heard on the internet, it was basically stated that she cheated on him because it was his fault.
Either way,
yeah,
you still they cheated on each other.
But even then, this is a recent thing, and who knows what they're doing now with each other, but it seems like that impact since then had put Will in a position of if you don't go and do something about this is why I cheated.
Jada is a huge problem. Yeah. For one, she's a bitch. She is a complete and utter bitch.
Why do you think she's not in movies?
For one, have you seen the interview where they talk about how Will had set up their wedding?
No.
He got in a huge party. It was a huge party. He got celebrities to sing for him and everything. She regrets every part of that, specifically because she thought that it was only a party for his ego. And she told him that.
That's ridiculous.
On their wedding night, she was like, I did not like the party because it was such a fluff of your ego. When he was saying, before this, I love my wife, and I got big plans.
Yeah.
I got huge plans. What a bitch.
Yeah. No,
I
100% think all of this is forced.
If this were another couple that was more holy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
If it was more innocent, if it was a more innocent couple, it would kind of be more understandable because they genuinely love each other. But since it's Will Smith and Jada, and they've shown multiple times on camera that they obviously don't fully love each other, this just seems to me like Will Smith wanted to take a podium because he wanted to feel like a hero for his wife, and it just got out of hand.
Yeah,
and it backfired on him.
He regrets it too.
Yeah, that's why he was crying.
Yeah, that's why he was crying when he got the reward. Will was really upset with himself, and Will could not be more thankful that Chris Rock didn't press charges, and
people are thinking this is staged because of that.
No, I don't. So at first, when I saw the slap, I thought, oh wow, this has got to be staged. But when Will Smith yelled at him twice on public television saying, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Yeah. When he yelled it twice, I knew. I was like, wow, this is an actual anger fit.
Yeah, he was having a tantrum.
Yeah. And
it's actually more notorious than the Kanye West and Kim Kardashian thing when Taylor Swift got the award.
Yeah.
And he like got up there and was like, Kim Kardashian deserved this award more, just saying.
Yeah.
And like ruined her spot. This is more notorious than that.
Oh yeah.
And for the worst reasons possible.
Exactly. And like, props to fucking Chris Rock.
Yeah, dude,
taking
he's such
that
a
like
guy.
a fucking champ.
He's a
and
Chad.
just you're rolling with it.
I did laugh, however, how much he pussied down. He's like, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. He's like, I will. I will.
Well, like, Chris Rock isn't like much of a fighter. Like, he's not gonna be a big old like, oh, I'm gonna get up in your shit and like fucking.
He's no Chris Brown.
Yeah, he's also like a very respectful guy. From what I hear Chris Rock is a very stand-up, like, good dude.
Better than Amy Schumer, dude.
Oh
She made a fucking. Did you see that thing at the? Since we're on the topic of like controversy with celebrities, did you see Amy Schumer's joke in the roast like last year that she did on fucking Johnny Knoxville?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
She had mentioned. I forgot who it was in Jackass that committed suicide.
He didn't commit suicide.
Or he died from a car crash.
From a car accident, from getting drunk. Yes,
yeah, and she was like, I know you were thinking, why wasn't it me? And we were all thinking, oh, I know. We were thinking the same thing. Why wasn't it John?
Ryan.
Yeah.
When she said that, I was pissed.
Everybody was quiet. Even Johnny Knoxville was just sitting there with like the straightest face. And Mike Tyson cracked me up because he was the only one to say anything other than like the giggle from the crowd.
Yeah.
He was like, fuck you, Amy!
I remember that. Yeah, and Mike Tyson just. I just like that after the joke, after the punchline, it was just dead silent, and you hear the crowd like little murmur or giggle, like trying to be like, yeah.
Yeah. You just hear Mike Tyson, fuck you, Amy! I wish Jim Carrey did something like that in the Emmys. Fuck you, Smith.
If I was there, if I was there, like watching the show in public personally, and she made that joke, I'd be like same as them, just like, wow. And the second
I would have been the one booing of them.
The second I would have heard Mike Tyson, fuck you, Amy, I would have started dying.
That shit's gold. You can't script that shit. Like, that shit's gold. And it's because, like, it's comeuppance. They got what they deserve, dude.
Fuck you, Amy.
Fuck you, Amy.
Yeah, no, but, like, Chris Brown taking it like a champ. I've heard, like, a couple of, like night show talkers, like the famous actor night show talkers. One of them was kind of like going on a tangent about it. He was like, he had said too, he was like, I understand people's reasoning for being pissed off. Jim Carrey having to be escorted out and everything because he was mad because this is going to be the highlight of the Oscars. And props to Chris fucking Rock. If Will Smith would have came up to me and smacked me like that, I would have cried like a bitch.
I guarantee you, if another Rock was on the stage,
oh my god,
nothing would have happened.
No.
Will Smith would not have done what he did. Like,
no.
if The Rock was on fucking stage and made that joke, he
Dwayne
would have
The
sat
Rock
there and
Johnson.
laughed. He would have sat there and laughed. His wife would have been pissed. He would have sat there and laughed.
Yeah.
Guarantee you.
Dude, I guarantee you, too, if, like, it did happen where he got up and did that to, like, Dwayne would have grabbed his ass right away.
Would have ragdoll physicked him. Just, just, like, into the curtains.
People have, like, slow-mos of the slap and, like, seeing. Apparently, in, like, one of the slow-mos, after he got hit and Chris Rock had his head down, apparently his right hand was clenched. Like, people thought he was ready just to swing.
Yeah. Now, when I first saw that, I thought he got punched. I thought he straight got decked, like closed hand and decked in the face. I was like, damn, Will, what the fuck? I was laughing. I'm not going to lie, dude. Like, when I saw that on YouTube, I started cracking up. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
I can't believe Will just fucking did that.
Until Will started cussing him out, I was like, whoa. Like, at first when I saw it,
dude,
I was like, that's funny. And then once Will's yelled at him, I was like, okay.
You feel the awkwardness through video.
Yeah.
Because not even the audience is like, ooh, they were dead silent.
Dude, they were.
Oh, we spent 20 minutes talking about the Emmys.
Yeah, well, like...
And roasting.
But, like, that's... I think we need to slap it on the video, too, talking about Will Smith's slap as well. But, like, the... But, yeah, I feel like in that whole situation, Jim Carrey has a right to be angry, and I understand his, like, point of view. I understand both sides, too.
Yeah. No side
should not have been taken that far out of proportion.
I don't think
there should
anything.
not have been anger like that much. Like
nothing verbal should be taken into physical.
like I feel like if Will Smith would have sat there and had yelled, "Get my wife's name out your fucking mouth," without the physical contact, it would have like been.
It would have been like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, Chris Rock probably would have been like, "Oh, sorry, didn't mean to." I feel like Chris Rock, like
he's
I said,
an understandable guy.
Yeah. Like if Will would have just yelled it without getting physical.
Yeah, Chris Rock isn't in like many controversies at all.
No, not at all.
But that's because he's a comedian that tends to keep his fucking nose out of where he shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like. Anyway,
it was just
coming off of that. There's we just wanted to rant about it because poor Jim Carrey. It put him.
We're never gonna get another chance.
Yeah, it put Jim Carrey in this perspective of wanting to retire. Like honestly, I feel like that's probably a contributor of why he wants to, because he doesn't want to be associated.
I'm sure,
with
and it sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks. But at the same time, like, it makes for great content.
Yeah, no, it does.
It makes for some awesome content.
Anyway, moving back from that, Jim Carrey does an amazing role.
Oh yeah, no, we were at the part where they fight with Knuckles.
Yeah, and the fight with Knuckles is really good, just because like, Sonic of course has the speed on Knuckles, but the thing is Sonic had never.
He'd never gone up
fought
against
anybody with like Knuckles' level of skill. Or, not only that, but Knuckles.
He's the first.
Yeah. From what they explain later in the movie, Knuckles is like a battle-ready...
that's all he's been trained to do. His whole life, from like his tribe, they were telling him like...
We're training you to be a fighter.
And like, your destiny may not be here yet, but it's going to be coming.
Yeah.
And like keeping him off, but training him on the sidelines. And I really like Knuckles.
Yeah, Knuckles was a really good.
I think this is actually the best portrayal of Knuckles.
Oh yeah, by far any cartoon or any other like movie
from what
that
I've
had
seen.
Sonic and stuff like that. This was probably the best. I prefer this Knuckles over like the Sonic Hero Knuckles.
I prefer this Knuckles over Sonic X Knuckles.
Yeah, dude, like this Knuckles.
And Sonic X Knuckles is fucking badass. Yeah. Like from what I remember as a kid. It was pretty badass.
Yeah.
So this Knuckles, like Idris Elba, nailed it.
Yeah, he did.
What a good fucking guy.
Yeah, what a good choice to play Knuckles.
He's a great actor, like in anything he does.
Yeah.
And even in the newest Suicide Squad, I feel like he's one of the reasons that Suicide Squad came out of the water. Is like, it's not bad.
Yeah, because he did an excellent job.
Like John Cena, obviously he's gonna be enjoyable.
Yeah.
But like his character wasn't the best.
No. But like and so like their whole fight starts happening and Eggman's just kind of like watching it go down.
Yeah, he's like he just wants to see.
And then Knuckles is spikes Sonic into the ground from the trailer, and as he's like about to, so my favorite part that they didn't show in the trailer, right after Knuckles spiked him down, he didn't just leave him there all like dazed and confused. Knuckles spiked his ass down, then picked him up by his throat and slammed him into a tree. And I was like, ooh! I was like, he's
then
ready
he started
to
battering into his stomach, dude.
Yeah. And so Knuckles was beating the shit out of Sonic.
Yeah, no, Sonic was way out of his league.
And then Tails shows up in a police car, just fucking
he rams him, dude, all kindergarten cop style.
Yeah, rams Knuckles. Knuckles goes flying into this shed, and Tails is like, "Sonic, get in here!" And Sonic's like, "I don't know who you are, but thank you." And Sonic gets in the car. They like go to drive away, and fucking Jim Carrey Eggman jumps on the windshield of the car, and he's acting like a rabid dog. He's just like,
dude, like he's even licking the windshield. He's like, like, is he licking the windshield?
Tails is screaming like, "Why is he doing that?"
And now I think, I hate to say it, but I think the worst part of this movie might be Tails.
Well,
and that's saying something, because I didn't think that I'd enjoy the human like B plot that much.
Yeah.
But I did. I actually really enjoyed the B plot.
I liked it too, just because of like the awkwardness.
Yeah, the awkward wedding shit. Yeah. I thought that was funny. I was like, "This is great, dude. This is awesome."
Well, I can agree that Tails is probably the worst part of the movie, but even then, Tails was still.
He's not bad.
Like Tails was still good.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's just the least.
Yeah.
Interesting part of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's because he's the kid fanboy of the movie. Because in this interpretation of Tails, he's Sonic's fanboy. That burst in the first movie from him doing the baseball game actually leaked over to this movie in the sense of when he did that sonic burst, Tails had gotten the signal.
The spiked energy.
Yeah, he got that signal from way far away, and he's like, "What's this?" So he starts investigating, and he starts watching Sonic, and he becomes Sonic's like fucking #1 fanboy.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool though.
I liked how there was an awkward like when Tails tells him that, and he's like, "Yeah, no. Ever since you did your burst at the baseball field, I had caught it, and I've been watching you ever since. And Sonic, you're a great hero. You're a cool
you're
guy.
a legend.
You're a legend." And Sonic's like, "You've been watching me ever since then? So you like watch me when I'm shower?" And Tails is like, "Ha! Trick question. Sonic doesn't shower. Sonic takes baths."
Yeah, he enjoys baths.
Yeah,
more.
and Sonic was like,
You're
"Hey, you
good."
know your stuff." And in my head, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, I like that Sonic just like completely ignored.
But yeah,
that.
no,
like,
it insinuates Tails is kind of a fucking creep. which I don't have a problem with that. I think it's funny that like make characters have certain flaws or something, and you could be like, wait, that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
because it gives them more interesting character development.
Exactly. And so like Sonic kind of goes out and he has this map that he's had since he had left his homeworld, and he was kind of just doodling on the map, doing whatever with it because it had different locations of the planet on it.
Yeah, but he didn't want to leave Earth.
Yeah, and
he didn't have to anymore.
And so he was just it was Earth. It was just different locations of Earth on the map.
Oh, I thought they were different planets.
No, there was just different locations of Earth, and there was like symbols of like specific
Why was there a
mushroom
mushroom planet on it?
I have no idea. Anyway,
are you sure then?
I'm pretty sure because when Sonic looks at the map, he goes, "According to this map, the key to the emerald should be in."
Was that a part I walked out on?
No, the part you walked out of
was the wet because I was like
wedding scene. Yeah,
I was like, oh, they're just bantering.
So
now
the part that you missed and walked out on was the wedding bearer girl was showing showing Todd whatever his name is. Tom showing Tom the wedding rings, and he picked one up and he was like, "Oh, this is really cool."
That's why that happened.
Yeah, and then he did like a magic trick to the little girl, like making the ring appear behind her ear, and he was like, "Haha!" And then he put the ring down. When that happened in my head, I was like, "You fucked up." I was like, "You just done fucked up." Like I knew it was
when that happened and I came back, I missed that entire scene because I went to the bathroom and then I filled up our popcorn.
Yeah, but that's why he was like fighting with him to get the ring. That's how the ring got
like okay, so I left. So like from my point of view, I leave. There's a whole this is the scene I'm talking about to where I'm like, I don't think it was that necessary, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it happened. And it was the dance scene. Yeah. At the where did they go? Like a fucking
they
bar?
Went to, so they had traveled. I don't know where it is.
Alaska?
They had traveled. No, they didn't travel.
Fuck it, it was snowy there though.
Yeah, no. I don't know if you heard me, but they had traveled to wherever the Matterhorn Mountain is.
Yeah, I walked in when they were like in the bar. Yeah, you had told me, you were like, this is the Matterhorn.
Yeah, it's because it was the Matterhorn.
Yeah, it was the mountain.
Yeah, but anyway, they had traveled to wherever that was located, and they found a bar on the mountains, and they had walked in, and it was like a very hard bar, and like
all these people are fucking like from the first bar. They're not bikers at this point, or like rednecks. They're like hard bar people. They're all just wearing like super strict leather. I wouldn't even call them rednecks.
Yeah, but like they go in and they take a seat, and Tails identifies as the language and changes his device to speak their language when he talks into it. Yeah, and it fucks up and starts insulting them. And so it turns into this whole thing, and Tails has learned this challenge word that you can call out.
Like Bankai or whatever?
Yeah, and it's like a call out to a challenge to where if you win, then you get a reward, and their reward was them not being thrown into the fire.
Into the fire, yeah. Because in this theater, we were surrounded by kids. One was kicking the fucking back of my seat the whole time. But I calmed myself down. I kept patient. Didn't get on the kid. No one was hurt.
No one was hurt.
But in the scene where they were like talking and the subtitles were on screen, I'm like, I wonder if the kids like in this theater cannot read that. So they just see them speak and they just see them throwing them into the fire. Like they're like, Honchito, like talking whatever the fuck they talk. They like pick him up and just throw him into the fire. Like from the kid's perspective, they're like, why are they just throwing him in the fire now? I'm like, this is like the demographic for this movie is kids.
Yeah.
So like when we were in a theater full of like 8-10-year-olds.
Yeah.
So like for me to see this, I'm just like, I thought it would be hilarious like to be in the mindset of a kid, not know what the subtitles said.
Yeah.
Just hear them talk like nonsense to Sonic and Tails and then just throw them in the fire. I was like, dude, as a kid, this must be the most traumatic thing in the world. Like, ooh, how did this escalate to this point?
It was really good scene, like, because like they're sitting there freaking out. They start like calling out this like this challenge word, and then they all like stop and they turn around to this like really like kind of jacked small dude.
He's like an Irish guy.
Yeah, and
he
like,
looked like an actor I'd recognize. Like he looked like Aaron from Jackass.
Yeah, kind of. But he takes off his...
The newest one.
He takes off his jacket, and he has a tattoo of himself, like, T-posing on his chest. But anyway, it looks like a big old fight scene.
I thought that was hilarious, dude. Like, when he took off his shirt, it was just like a tattoo of him T-posing. Yeah. I was like, that's the best tattoo idea ever.
He takes off his, like, coat, and the band starts playing, and he, like, starts, like, shouting, like, ah! Like he's like getting pumped up.
Yeah, and then they do this Peacemaker intro, like kind of like dancing.
And then he starts dancing and doing these like jigs on the ground and shit.
Yeah, they're Irish dance moves too.
Yeah, and Sonic is sitting there. He's like, "Oh, this is a dance battle," but Sonic is like trying to dance to the music,
and it's just not working because it's Irish like Celtic music.
Yeah,
and he doesn't know how to dance to Celtic. Like so, him and Tails are like trying to do these Irish moves. They're just fucking up. So then, like, he's like, fuck this. You know, like, let's change it to our style. They called us freaks, so let's get freaky. And, like, they put on, like, fucking Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
I don't like when that song's put into movies, but I did enjoy.
Yeah, they did really good with this.
Yeah, they did a dance number to Uptown Funk.
Yeah. Uptown Funk you up.
Yeah, they did a dance to that. And I actually... It's a scene that doesn't need to be in the movie. If you take this scene out of the movie... There's really nothing missing from it.
I feel like one good thing about the scene in the movie is it did make Tails and Sonic's relationship stronger.
It also showed that...
is because Sonic had convinced Tails and been like, you can trust me.
Just follow my lead.
Just follow my lead. I got you.
Yeah, I see, like, that. Like, there's character progression. Like, a tiny bit of character progression. But if you take the scene out of the movie...
It is unneeded.
It is unneeded.
But it
is
really
a fun
good.
scene though.
Yeah.
I had fun with this scene, which is something that like I'm combating with myself on saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that kind of guy to like enjoy that like really cheesy dance off like High School Musical kind of shit. But it hit me in a different way. Yeah. And it made me enjoy it. Yeah. And that, like it settled me in. It got me immersed, even though it was a stupid fucking scene that you take out of the movie. It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. We did, I just realized we did kind of jump ahead and forget to mention this. The whole reason, like, Tails and Sonic are here, it's because they're trying to find the Master Emerald. And on Sonic's map, it said that around this location is the compass to find the Master Emerald.
Yeah, okay.
And so they're at this area trying to figure out where to go to find this compass.
Yeah, but it just doesn't happen to be here. Like, in the spot they're in right now.
Well, yeah, it's
so,
because Tails is trying to use his device to, like, detect, like, the energy that the compass will give off.
I can't say the scene is completely useless for that, because it shows that Tails isn't a master at his craft. It shows that he can fuck up.
Yeah, and his equipment was defective because there was a giant storm coming in, and that's why they ended up in this bar, because they stayed the night there. But there was a humble scene where Tails and Sonic are together, and Tails ended up, like, curling up like a cat next to the fire and ended up falling asleep. And Sonic puts a blanket over him and like lays down, and he starts to fall asleep, and you see Tails' tails come out from under the blanket and like wrap around Sonic like a blanket. Yeah. And it kind of made me giggle because in my head I was like, man, you must have been fucked up. But Sonic ends up waking up the next morning, and there's just giant old woman just like cuddling Sonic. He's
like, we have a problem.
And Sonic's like, Tails, we have a problem. It just cuts away.
This movie is enjoyable. It's funny. And that's like, I think I'm in with it now. I think I'm in with the Sonic fan base. And like, these movies aren't bad.
Yeah.
They're not bad at all. the campiness, the cheesiness, it has heart behind it, and that's, I think, the biggest thing behind cheese.
Yeah.
Is if you make a cheesy scene and you're doing it for just shits and giggles, you don't care.
Yeah.
It's not going to really matter much. People are going to be like, yeah, there's no reason for this to be here. But, like, there was heart and character put into this scene.
Yeah.
So, it, like, now that I think about it more, maybe this scene deserves to stay in there. You know, like, maybe you shouldn't take it out.
Yeah.
But it's one of those scenes that you can take out.
Yeah.
And for a kid's movie to hit this harder on the mark.
It does, yeah.
For a kid's movie to hit this harder on the mark than adult films.
Yeah.
It's a
like
godsend.
Fucking movies?
Yeah, dude, it's a godsend.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that this director has not only like aspirations to meet children's expectations, but aspirations to meet fan expectations.
Yeah, that older fans of the series.
Yeah.
And so going from there, they the next morning, Sonic and Tails, they go and they end up finding the location of the compass. They had Sonic had to put in like some kind of code into this giant statue that was written on the map that he had, and it opens up and there's a little compass. I don't know if you noticed, but when he turned on the compass, every single color of the Chaos Emerald appeared on the compass.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah,
so
I did notice that.
I feel like they may go deeper with that compass.
Well,
because
it's spoiler, so now I could talk about it. At the end of the film, you do see the Chaos Emerald shatter.
The Master Emerald and turn into the main seven emeralds.
In its shattering, you see the red, white, yellow, blue, and green.
Purple or whatever.
And purple.
Yeah.
And like you see them fall from the crumbles. I loved how they didn't zoom in on it. They didn't show it. They just like...
They didn't make it a focus.
They let the audience look at it and be like, oh shit, the crystals were in the Master Emerald this whole time.
Well, they did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did explain
But like
that.
for them to just show it and like... It's a show not tell thing, but for them to like subtly show it is a fucking mark that they hit hard. Yeah. And like I love the subtleties in this movie.
Yeah. And it goes forward from there that they after they find the compass, Eggman and Knuckles show up. It's because Eggman had been tracking Sonic through his phone that he's been texting Tom with.
Yeah, they're tracking him, and Knuckles is fucking... He's a Drax of the movie.
Oh my god.
And which is why I love him so much, because in every interpretation of Knuckles that I've seen, there's the Sonic X Knuckles, where he's just
let me give a brief example of like the difference between like Drax and Knuckles though. Yeah. Is like Drax is socially awkward, but that's just because of his race.
Yeah.
Knuckles is straight socially awkward because from a kid he has been raised by himself, focusing on nothing but fighting.
Yeah. And
so he is just completely awkward.
Yeah. So like. That like in every interpretation of Knuckles that I've seen, you got the Sonic X Knuckles. He's just a brute. He's like one of those brawny like I'll fight whoever I want.
Yeah.
You know? And then like you got the Sonic Boom interpretation of Knuckles to where it's like he's just fucking retarded. And he's out there. He's just so dumb that he doesn't get it.
Like the scene where it's like, well, what do we feed the baby? Well, we want to give him a chili dog. Well, you can't give a baby a chili dog. Okay, then we'll put it in the blender. And Knuckles, okay, and he picks up the baby and puts it in the blender.
Yeah, there's that interpretation of Knuckles. There's Sonic Heroes interpretation of Knuckles, where he's just a silent brute.
Yeah.
There's the Sonic, I don't know if you saw the OVA, the like old ass Sonic movie that they made, where he was like in his first gen design where he's fat.
No.
They made there was an anime OVA on that, and like it was way back in like 1990.
Okay.
And that interpretation, like it had Knuckles in the movie.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it had Knuckles in the movie, but like it was a little closer to like him feeling, he was just sad about his ancestry. Like, he was a sad, edgy Knuckles.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And so there's that interpretation. But I think this interpretation of Knuckles should be the definitive edition of like what his character should be, because he's so clueless, and he's funny because he's so clueless to these like metaphors and social environments that like when he's reading he's the one in the background while they're like silently reading these texts. He's reading them out loud in the slowest way possible.
Not only that, but like on iPhones, which is what they're using when somebody's texting you, you get the dots that pop up that tell you that they're texting you, and Knuckles is just sitting there going dot Die.
Yeah, and they're just sitting there taking it. They're like, well, I'm not gonna correct him.
And fucking Rock looks at Eggman and he's all, why are we working with this imbecile? And then like once they like track him, Eggman like turns around and he's sitting there because he has pent up aggression against Sonic, and he has a little hologram of Sonic that's like moving on his own, and he's sitting there and he's just like like he starts flicking it
and like squishing his head. He's like, "There's more where that came from."
A little
and then fucking Knuckles just comes in and smashes it, and he's like, "The little magic blue hedgehog is destroyed. What's next?" I love it. I love this interpretation of Knuckles, and I think
the best part is like he acts like he kind of acts like a big dumb brute, but Knuckles isn't.
He's smart.
He's
smart.
Straight like he's intelligent in this movie.
His
actions are intelligent.
He's just literal.
Yeah.
Like unless you're like giving body language
you have
to like
Drax,
signify.
for example, who is straight like semi-retarded.
Yeah.
But Knuckles is like.
He's there.
Yeah, he's there. He knows he's really intelligent, battle ready, knows what to do, but he's just very straightforward.
He's just socially awkward.
Yeah, you can't joke with him without him understanding that it's a joke.
Yeah, you have to tell him it's a joke.
Yeah.
So like,
and even then, he wouldn't even laugh at it. He'd be like, "What do you mean?"
and you see like a slow progression because Robotnik is a very selfish person.
Yeah.
And you see like Knuckles. I love the progression of this. This turning a villain into a good guy.
Yeah.
Interpretation is way better than a lot of other movies that try to get this down. And it's because they show subtle scenes to where he's catching on like, this isn't what I think it is.
Yeah.
Robotnik's very selfish, and in a lot of the scenes in this movie, he'll just fucking throw Knuckles to the side while he's doing his shit.
Yeah.
And Knuckles, throughout the film, it's not just one scene. In any other movie, you'd get one scene of where Knuckles would realize, oh, he's a bad guy. Yeah. And then just instantly turn on him and switch with the good guys. In this movie, there are multiple different scenes and in different parts of the movie to where he's catching on slowly to what Robotnik is up to. But he thinks that Robotnik is his friend because they shook hands.
Yeah, and they're working together.
And which is great, because whenever Knuckles shakes hands with somebody in this movie, like Robotnik,
their hands.
Yeah, Robotnik's like, it's a handshake. It's to signify that a promise is made. So he like puts his hand out, and Knuckles grabs it and just like squeezes his hand, and he breaks his hand. He's like, oh my God, you just broke my hand. He's like, that's weird. I'm not injured.
And he's like, yeah, I wonder. And he's like, I gotta pop my knuckles back in the plate.
He's like, oh, it's a delightful thing to be working with you.
And so Knuckles is all interpretation. Like, Knuckles could probably sit there and accept, like, whatever, this guy's selfish and whatnot. Yeah. But he is helping me fight my enemy.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's slowly. You see the build-up of him catching on.
Yeah.
No movie where this happens really does that build-up.
Especially recently.
It doesn't do that build-up. Yeah. It just has a whole scene to where, oh, the character I'm working for is a bad guy. That's it. That's the one scene you get, and you're left with this, like, bitter taste in your mouth of, like, oh, well, this happened in the fucking blink of an eye. Like with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, with Electro and Spider-Man. Oh, you forgot my name. You don't know who I am. That was one scene. Dude, he met you in one scene and was like, you're my eyes and ears. He's trying to prep. He's like, hype you up. Yeah. You got out of a tough situation. And he's like, of course I know your name. And he says his name because it was on your fucking shirt.
Yeah.
And then when you're like, oh, he doesn't know my name. Like, that one scene, you just gotta hate Spider-Man or hate the main villain, like main guy. So you just 180 switch on your fucking morals. With Knuckles, it's not that.
No.
It's a dial, like a 20 angle dial change each time.
The best thing about this thing too is even from that to that point, Knuckles' moral doesn't change.
No, he stays with his...
Yeah, he still stays with his beliefs and whatnot, but just in his head, Sonic is the enemy because he's working with the Owls. Because the Echidnas and Owls have been at war for years, and so Knuckles is like, this is the enemy. I have to fight the enemy. And so even though Eggman kind of treats him like trash, Knuckles just kind of like brushes it off because he's like...
For one, he's too powerful
yeah,
for him to like even hurt him.
Yeah, and so Knuckles is like, it's whatever because this guy is helping me fight my enemy.
Yeah.
You know, might as well make friends in war kind of situation. And like it took Knuckles to realize Eggman's selfishness up until Eggman was about to take the Master Emerald.
Yep.
And that's because Knuckles didn't want to believe that Eggman was straight using him because he thought they were building some kind of friendship.
Not only that, but he didn't even... He, like, hesitated by saying, like, you're not going to trick me with that.
Yeah.
But he listened to Sonic because throughout this movie, whenever Sonic and Knuckles fight, there are times when Sonic shows traits of being a really good guy.
Yeah.
And Knuckles notices that.
Yeah.
Each time. So at this point, when he's like, "Oh, you think I'm gonna fall for that?" He's like, "No, really. Like, just take a look.
Like, turn around."
It's believable for him to be like, "All right."
Yeah.
You know, because he's seen Sonic's good side multiple times already.
Yeah.
Which is again, like it's contributing to the awesome fucking direction from the build-up factor.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just like misguided trust or anything like that.
It's not one scene. It's multiple of progression. Like,
yeah. And like so going back before all that happened, Knuckles had met up with Sonic, Eggman, and Tails, and they were fighting on
over
the
the
mountain
compass.
over the compass. They were trying to get it.
Yep.
And so Sonic's sitting there trying to fight all of Eggman's robots, which by the way are now insect modeled robots,
which
is amazing.
I like
that's
a lot.
From the old games.
I like a lot.
Yeah,
I like
but they
it
still
a lot.
have the white egg things.
Yeah, I like.
But so they're taking on all these robots, and they get to the bottom of the cliff, and Knuckles shows up to like start fighting Sonic, and Sonic immediately was like, because Sonic knows he's not stronger than Knuckles.
Yeah, he knows at this point.
And Sonic's like, I'm not gonna fight you. Like, we don't have to fight each other. Yada yada. And
we have the same power.
Yeah, we have the same power. And Knuckles tells Sonic, like, you don't understand. I've been alone my whole life, and he gives like Sonic his background story about like the Echidnas when they were leaving to attack Sonic and the Owls. And Sonic had put in his head, Sonic was like, we're the same. And when he said that, Knuckles kind of like stopped. And then Tails had showed up and threw like a trap on Knuckles, and it started like shocking him.
Yeah, and that's what Sonic's like, no, you don't have to hurt him. And that's when Knuckles understandably is like, that's a trick.
Yeah.
Because he got shot.
Yeah.
And that's the way you should portray these kind of scenarios, to where it's a misunderstanding rather than a full-blown fucking miscalculation.
Yeah. And so Knuckles, like, gets ready to start fighting again, and Sonic understands, like, oh god, this is bad.
He even starts to listen.
Yeah.
He doesn't just full-on attack right away. He listens because he's like, all right, obviously there's something going on here.
Yeah, and so Sonic in his head, he was like, oh no, this is bad because Tails is here now, and Tails definitely cannot deal with Knuckles.
No, he just has gadgets.
And so Sonic yells at Tails, Tails catch, and he goes to throw the compass to Tails, who's flying in the air.
Fucking Jim Carrey.
You see slowly Jim Carrey come in for the interception with that the bucket smile on his face.
Dude, every scene Jim Carrey's in, 10 out of 10. It's so good.
He comes in and he catches the compass, and right when he does, Tails is like, oh no, and like tries flying to Eggman. Then Eggman takes him out with a couple rockets. They explode right next to Tails, which kind of like just sends him back and forth in shockwaves.
Yeah, it incapacitates him.
Yeah, and it basically like gives him a concussion and he hits the ground.
Out.
And Sonic, instead of fighting Knuckles to get to Eggman for the compass, ignores him and runs to Tails and starts checking if he's okay.
Which Knuckles takes into account.
Yeah, which Knuckles notices, and he gets onto the ship with Eggman, and they start flying away, and Knuckles is like, is he really going to help that fox instead of pursuing the compass? And Eggman's like,
I don't care.
Yeah, Eggman's like, yeah, it's a dumb decision on their part, whatever.
That's their weakness.
Yeah,
and
that's
Knuckles,
their weakness.
That's another scene of Knuckles noticing, like, because he looks at him weird.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I love it.
Yeah.
I love the progression, because any other movie, any other director would have just been like, all it takes is one scene to get mad at Sonic. All it takes is one scene to get mad at Eggman.
Yeah.
That's how it would have ended. But no, they take their time. They fucking take their time. Awesome. Good on you, directors. Fuck yeah, dude.
Since this is kind of getting lengthy, we're kind of going to skip a few parts here. But as we kind of go through, They find out the compass guides them to the location where the Master Emerald is, and it's also a key.
Knuckles and Eggman.
Yeah, and so they unlock this giant, like, temple. This giant, like, booby trap.
Yeah, water
temple.
separates, like the fucking Moses story.
Yeah. And so as they're going through this temple, it's a real funny scene because Eggman's trying to calculate all the booby traps going off while Knuckles is just, like, brute forcing, like, his way through it all.
Yeah, and he's like, can you just use your head for, like, a second?
Yeah.
And think about the environment we're in?
And Eggman, after he goes through one of the traps, he was like, and cue the fire. And then, like, a fire blast comes at them, and they dodge it. And Eggman's like, ha, my calculations are right. Every 7 seconds, a trap goes. And then
a pendulum fucking, like, almost cuts his face off.
Yeah, and then he stops, and he's like, my calculations are off. Because it would have
maybe that's a little too soon.
Yeah. And then that's when he has that conversation with Knuckles. Stop brute forcing your way through everything.
Yeah, look around.
Yeah.
At your environment. And he sends drones out to, like, scan this maze and figure out where the booby traps are.
And so the island that they're at right now is an island that's, like, a few hundred miles away from the coast of Hawaii, which Sonic had ended up getting to because he had teleported there using one of the rings.
And then, like, running on the water.
Yeah. No. He had used the rings to teleport to Hawaii because he was like stuck in like some kind of avalanche that was coming while he was carrying Tails, and they come on through. There's a whole like secret government scene that happens, but we can kind of like bypass it for now.
I don't want to because there's a funny scene that happens in that.
Well, if you want to go over it, go take over.
I do. Okay, so there's this whole scene of like in the beginning, Tom is instructed by his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Don't ruin the wedding. Yeah. Like, and at that point, everybody in the theater is like, yeah, what's gonna happen? Yeah. They're gonna ruin the wedding. So, like, in the middle of this wedding, it's at the reception. They're getting married. They're about to put the ring on the finger, and Sonic calls Tom in the middle of this fucking wedding, and he keeps calling him. So he's turning off his phone, keeps calling him, and he's like, he gets a text. It's like, call me right away. It's an emergency. So he calls him and FaceTimes him. He's like, are you skiing? He's like, no, actually, I'm snowboarding off of the side of a mountaintop, and we need your help. I need you to throw that ring and picture where I'm at. And he's like, what do you mean picture where you're at? And Sonic, like, turns the camera around. He's like, I just need you to picture this and throw the ring. And he's like, okay. So he, like, goes to grab the ring and realizes it's the wrong fucking ring.
Yeah, he chucks it and nothing happens. And he's like, what the hell? And he picks up the ring and he looks and he sees
it's the wedding ring.
Yeah.
And they're about to put the rings on each other's finger. He has the ring that Sonic needs. So he, like, this whole awkward scene of him going up and, like, asking for the ring while they're putting it on each other's fingers. She's like, I just need that ring for a second. She's like, no, put that ring on my finger if you want to fucking lock this down. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, dude, get out of that right now. Yeah. Like, holy shit. So this dude's not giving him the ring. Tom ends up punching the fucking groom.
Yeah.
And, like, grabbing the ring and throwing it in front of the altar. And you see the avalanche that Sonic's in front of, like, coming at them. And they crash the wedding.
Yeah.
An avalanche ruins the fucking wedding.
Yeah.
And Sonic explains the whole
ordeal to them.
I wouldn't
say the avalanche ruined the wedding, but
no, the sister ruined the wedding. But the like they explain what's going on. Robotnik's back. He's trying to get an emerald to take over the world. He's like, okay, well, what do we do? What can we do? And at that point, everybody reveals themselves, like, at the wedding to be an officer of the
government agents.
Yeah, and even the groomsman is a government agent.
Yeah, so this whole wedding was a fake ploy to get close to her family so they can try to get Sonic.
Yeah, because the government, now that Eggman's out of the way trying to get research on this creature, they want the research themselves.
Yeah.
So now they're trying to do it themselves, and which leads into a really funny scene with the white, like the...
With the bride.
The bride. Yeah, I forgot the word. with the bride, and she's like, wait, so everybody here is the secret agent? And he's like, pretty much. He's like, is JoJo a secret agent? Her daughter. Is she a secret agent? She's like, no, Mom, I'm not a secret agent. She's like, it's the woman that waxed my parts? Is she a secret agent? At that moment, I was like, whoa! This is a this is full of kids. They don't need to know that women wax their vaginas. but it was a funny scene because she's freaking out and she ends up fucking like trying to get back at this guy while shit's hitting the fan and like all these agents are trying to take down Sonic and he's just fucking everything up. Well, like she ends up driving a fucking like golf cart into their altar trying to get back at the groomsman. She's like, I'm gonna get back at this groomsman. The only redeeming quality of this woman. I hate this lady, dude. Everything about this lady in the first and second movie I fucking hated.
Yeah.
I take back everything I said about like Tails being the worst part of this movie.
Oh, you
Thinking back on it, I think it's her. I think she is just so mean. But at the same time, she like
that's
because
the character she's supposed to be.
Because
so does a good job.
Because of that, she does like have these comedic scenes, which is like one of these scenes to where the groomsman that was a secret agent sees her fucking crash the golf cart in the altar and like all the sparks fly. And he's like, wow, what a woman. And he ends up really actually loving her, but the fucking his boss is like, you cannot do that. So like it's a whole scene to where like she's like, do you really love me? And he's like, yeah, I really love you. But I thought it was really funny to where she was like, are you telling me that JoJo's the secret agent? Yeah. What about the woman that like waxed my lady parts? I was like, whoa! Yeah. But yeah, no, that I think that scene's like worth a mention because Tails they take him in and like rest him up because he's still unconscious. Yeah. Like Sonic was carrying him in his arms during that fucking like mountain snowboard ride. So they get Tails rested up and Sonic's like, I need to do this. There's an ocean like between them and the beacon for the emerald. Yeah,
Tails is still kind of knocked out.
And he's like, I'm gonna do this. I have to do this alone. And they're like, no, you have us. He's like, no, this is my fault. I need to go do this. So he Jesus runs across the fucking ocean, basically until he hits a wave, and then he gets like shore-sided onto the fucking beach that the emerald's on. Yeah. And so that's when he wakes up, but right when he leaves, Tails wakes up and tries to get him. Yeah. And
but Tails isn't like all like
he's not there,
so he's kind of like falling down.
Yeah, yeah. So he sees the plane in the sky, Tails, as it passes over because they had a plane like with a banner
for the wedding.
And so Tails sees that. He's like, "Can I get a hold of that?" And I guess they got the plane down, let him get a hold of it, and flew off. Yeah. That's off screen, but Sonic ends up on this beach where Robotnik and Knuckles are getting the emerald. They're like at that Moses part where the water opens up.
Yeah, where they're inside of the temple.
But they are underground now because they made it through most of the maze.
Yeah, and so Sonic starts speedrunning.
Yeah, he's just like sees this maze full of booby traps and he's like, all right. He's like, I don't care. Just fucking runs through all of it, setting off every booby trap he possibly can. So Knuckles and Jim Carrey are in the fucking underground. They hear the floor rumbling, and they hear Sonic talking to himself while he's like running. And they're like, oh no, he's here! So they start trying to get to the emerald, but he shows up. Go ahead and take control.
He falls through the ground and lands in front of him, which right now, what we're talking about, is my favorite scene in the movie. Because, like, Jim Carrey like encourages Knuckles, like go take him out. Let's finally end this. And Knuckles and Sonic just have a badass fight scene.
Yeah,
like,
they do.
It's such a good fight scene.
It's really good. And I even noticed the effects they use for Knuckles punching. Yeah. In a live action movie, you can't really get down like the full speed of like a character punching when they're going super fucking fast. Yeah. I love their style for this because they animated like 4 arms on each side going at different directions. Yeah. And I noticed like that's just something I noticed because I'm like, I've always been a film guy. I love film. I want to direct my own movie one day. I hope it comes down to that point. Yeah. But I just noticed like for the arm effects of like speed punching, they use multiple like animated arms in different directions.
See Knuckles is punching so fast.
Yeah, arms. It looks like he has multiple arms, and I'm like, for them to get that really good in an action movie about a video game character, what can you do with a movie about Luffy? Yeah, it just goes on to show like you can do Luffy live action in One Piece if you wanted to. Yeah,
and the fight scene is really good. Sonic has this new like willpower to fight stronger because he's trying to protect everyone he loves and cares about.
And he faced Knuckles and he's like, you know what? I'm not strong enough.
I think one cool scene is when Sonic does get the edge of Knuckles is he kicks Knuckles down and Knuckles like lands on the staircase on his back. Yeah. And Knuckles is like trying to recuperate and then Sonic turns into a ball and he just flies straight down and hits Knuckles in the stomach further into the staircase. and Knuckles like tries to like recuperate, and Sonic just keeps going. Wah, wah, wah,
Yeah, dude, he's just
smacking
smashing him into the ground like harder and harder.
But then Knuckles finally like catches him and then starts like fighting back. Like it's so good.
But it was a good scene of him like using, because like I love the whole power and speed dynamic in this film, because it shows like, yeah, you can be fast, but that doesn't mean everything.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, you can be strong, but it just takes willpower over most things. Like Sonic, for him to like face Knuckles once, get his ass kicked, and realize, fuck, I need to get better. And throughout the movie, you see him trying to like do better with his speed and movements.
Yeah.
Like you see him progressively get smoother with how he runs around.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool subtlety.
Yeah.
That's something that you wouldn't see in any other video game movie.
Oh yeah. No, not at all.
And this movie gains huge props from me.
Yeah.
Let's get on to the ending.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
So as we kind of go through, we talked about the scene where
Eggman gets the fucking emerald.
Yeah, and so he gets it, and he basically goes chaos mode, which is where they have the evolution of like the powerful warrior. And Eggman, they explain in the movie. I don't think it's true in the series. I don't remember if that's the case.
I'm not a huge Sonic lore guy.
Yeah, but they say in the movie that if you have the power of the Master Emerald, then you basically have the power to do anything. Your thoughts are limitless.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either.
I do know, however, because I've read some comics. When I was a kid, I got Nintendo Power comics.
Yeah.
Like, and they had some comics of like Sonic, but I also got like the Lego Club sent out an exclusive, like, they had like a 4-month exclusive Sonic fan thing, and they sent out 4 comics of like the darker, edgier series, Sonic Underground.
Yeah.
And those 4 comics had the Echidna backstory.
Yeah.
And like, it's pretty fucking spot on. Like, there are some differences, but it's spot on for the most part. Like,
yeah.
In the lore of Knuckles.
Yeah.
And I dig that. Because it shows you that the director cares more than just like, let's make a dumb kids movie about Sonic.
Yeah. And so Jim Carrey Eggman, he goes through, he like teleports using the Master Emerald's power,
which Knuckles sees and he gets pissed off. So he switches sides. He's like, all right, Sonic, you told me to look.
He doesn't switch sides instantly. What happens, he yells at Eggman, I thought we were friends. And Eggman's like, ha, whatever, friends is just a hindrance. And Eggman, like, because he takes the emerald, the place there, it starts kind of like collapsing and falling apart.
Like, envelops in him? Like, the emerald just...
Yeah. So the emerald envelops...
That's a problem I have, though.
Well, no, that's how it is in all of it.
I know, but that's like a problem I have in this movie. Like, when he gets punched.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there.
That's later.
But, so, he, I think I have an explanation of that, too. But anyway, he, like, goes through... He teleports away back to his like main base, and as he does so, everything starts falling apart, and a beam kind of the place starts filling up with water again, and a beam falls down and like lands on Knuckles.
Yeah.
And Sonic,
I missed this part.
Sonic goes into the water to save Knuckles because he doesn't want him to die, and Sonic can't swim; he just sinks when he's in water, and so he tries. He tries to pull the beam up, and then Knuckles wakes up while in the water and starts like trying to push it up as well. And Sonic stops him, and he like counts down underwater, 3, 2, 1, and then they do it together and get the beam off of him. And then Knuckles starts swimming up and swimming away.
And Sonic can't.
And
He's
Sonic
just
can't.
stuck down there.
Yeah.
I heard a couple kids crying with this.
Yeah, and there's a really funny scene too when Sonic was first trying to lift the beam. He started running out of air, and then a big old bubble comes up in front of him, and he just sucks up the bubble like he does
just like
in the
the
video games.
Yeah.
And so Knuckles starts swimming away, and Sonic can't get up, and he starts looking oxygen, and he's about to drown, and he like his eyes slowly start closing, and then Knuckles comes back, swims, and saves him, and gets him onto the water. Which I don't know if you know, but Knuckles can swim in the video games.
Yes.
In most games, Knuckles is the
He's
swimmer.
also fast.
Yeah.
Like, let's get that across. In this movie, he's fast.
Yeah, Knuckles is fast in this movie.
He's just not as fast as Sonic.
Yeah.
Because that's his specialty.
Yeah. And so they get him out of the water, and there's a real humble scene between Knuckles and Sonic talking about their past, but before they get talking, Sonic like makes a sandball and throws it at Knuckles.
Yeah.
And Knuckles is like, "Our fight's over, and you're choosing to attack me."
He's like, "I saved you."
He's like, "I saved you," and then Knuckles throws like a giant ball of sand at Sonic.
It just buries him. Like they're having a sand fight while they're talking it out.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good scene.
Yeah, and so they end up like talking out, and they go to, they like agree to help each other, and they go to shake hands, and Knuckles
fucking breaks his hand. Yeah, he's like, "What is with that?"
And so it cuts back to Eggman in his
the final scene.
Yeah, he cuts back to Eggman back with his henchman Rock over at the the coffee shop that they've been running or whatever, that like a secret base or whatever. And so Eggman is all like emeraldy, and he has this like really like kind of weird robotic voice when he first shows up and he's talking.
Yeah, and he starts auto-tuning his own voice.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
And he like,
damn.
He like pulls up a keyboard and everything and starts auto-tuning.
It's all
his
like
own
neon
voice.
green, like digitalized, like he's just fucking with his own voice.
Yeah, and it was so good.
I thought that was great. I was like, damn, that's fucking like for a dumbass thing to be added into a movie, they made it funny.
Yeah. And so the military ends up believing Sonic and all of them that Eggman's back because of the Emerald Beam. When the Master Emerald went off, it shot this like giant thick energy beam into the sky.
Yep. Huge theme of the movies.
Yeah. And so they go and they find Eggman, and they start surrounding him, and then Eggman comes out. Then he uses his newfound powers to kind of start taking all the vehicles and technology apart, and he turns it into a giant mech bot. And the mech bot is the same robot from the first game.
It's the end boss from the first Sonic the Hedgehog. That I think they call it the Egg Bot.
Yeah.
And it's just a giant version of Eggman, like from the video. Like has a long nose, fucking exaggerated mustache.
Yeah.
It's fat, and it's huge. And I thought that was a cool callback. I was like, you know what? It's something I want to say. This movie, like series, has video game references, but it doesn't lose itself in its own IP.
Yeah.
In the sense of when Knuckles and Sonic were in the water and Sonic was drowning, I expected there to be the fucking cheesy ass like and like I'm kind of glad they didn't do that. It would have kind of ruined that scene.
Yeah, the like actual intensity of
it would have ruined it, and I'm glad they didn't get so caught up like so many other video game movies do.
Yeah.
To where they're like, we have to use the soundtrack, we have to use the songs, but then we gotta add like dubstep or a beat over it, because I guarantee you in a movie like this, if they would have added that, it would have been like boop, 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 and like fucking would have deteriorated into some dubstep trash for the kiddos. But I'm glad they didn't lose themselves in their IP. They kept themselves really true and wholesome to this story, and they made their own interpretation. I dig it. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I actually am excited for the third one. But we're on the ending scene, and we're gonna get to why we're excited for the third one.
And so we're at the end scene now. Eggman has the giant robot. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles shows up on the airplane. And so they like start talking, and they decide, okay, let's do this. Let's try to fight this thing. Knuckles jumps off the plane to start trying to attack from the ground. Yeah. And Knuckles and Sonic and Tails try taking it from the air. And so the fight starts happening. Sonic ends up falling off the plane, and Tails' plane gets shot down, or it gets mustache crushed.
Knuckles falls off the plane.
Knuckles falls off the plane, and then the plane gets like mustache.
It's like kind of hovering in front of the Robotnik, the egg bot.
Yeah.
And the mustache between the nose just like folds in and like crushes the front of the plane. And fucking Sonic jumps off, right, and gets on the robot. But then he just fucking falls off and almost gets stomped.
And then it cuts to Eggman where he was like, what was that? And then Rock is in the ship with him. He was like, I read the manual. And he picks up a robot manual. And it's an old like Sega manual.
Yeah, it's a Sega manual from like the Sega games.
Yeah.
From the Master System.
Yeah. And it was really cool callback there. But anyway, it shows like here where Sonic kind of takes like a leadership role. Because Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles get to talking and they try to figure out a game plan. And Sonic, like, puts together, he was like, wait, I kind of live in this guy's head rent-free. If it's just me, he's going to do his best just to attack me.
I love how his analogy was for that. Yeah. Because it was like...
It's modern.
He's like, because he's like, Knuckles at first, he was like, let's attack... Yeah, he's like, let's attack the groin.
That's the weak
And he's
place.
like, what? And he's like, yeah, let's attack the groin. It's always the weak spot for everybody. And he's like... can you stop saying the word groin? Like,
and then as Sonic's putting it together, and he goes like,
I am the groin.
I'm the groin.
And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah. No, like you said, I live in fucking Robotnik's head, rent free. So if I fucking be the distraction, you guys can get the upper hand for me. And it happens like that. He ends up like going to the crotch, like in between the legs of this robot, and he's just mocking him. He's just taunting him, and he ends up running from him while Tails and Knuckles.
And so Eggman the whole time is like chasing him, trying to grab him, and Tails and Knuckles start like scaling the robot. And as he's chasing him, it gets to a point to where Eggman's kind of like thrashing Sonic a little bit.
Yeah, he's just throwing him into shit. And like, there's a scene where like Knuckles is running in the streets, and like Jim Carrey eats the scenery.
Yeah.
He, like, when I say he eats scenery, oh my god, he is like my favorite actor of all time. And these movies are exactly why he's my favorite actor. and for him to just like, when Knuckles is running at him, he's in this robot head doing the movements for it, Pacific Rim style.
Yeah.
So he starts doing this like finger walking thing to where he's like, you know, you're at school on your desk as a kid, and you like you make your fingers into like a person. You walk across your desk. Yeah. He does that to like Knuckles. He starts like finger running with his robot through the streets. The city. Yeah, and Knuckles is like running to him, and he punches the fingers, and fucking like robot. He's so strong that it actually holds back the robot for a second, and like you see Robotnik's like, ow, I actually felt that. and dude. He's so good.
He's good.
So fun. Like, as Robot, I could not. At first, I was skeptical. When Sonic 1 came out, I was like, oh, Jim Carrey is Robotnik?
Yeah.
That's a weird choice.
But now it's great.
Oh, dude, he is definitively Robotnik.
And so the robot starts, like, thrashing Sonic a bit, and, like, Sonic is getting pretty injured. And then that's when Tails and Knuckles finally get into the robot, and they see Eggman, and Tails puts, like, a whole bunch of holograms around. And Robotnik like starts like one by one taking out the holograms, and he goes, "Okay, that's enough." And he sends like a shockwave, and it destroys all of them.
Disintegrates them like shadow clone jutsus.
Yeah, and it shoots Tails down. And
Tails has a shadow clone jutsu, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, and Robotnik looks at him, and he's like, "You are not smarter than me." And Tails is like, "I may not be smarter than you, but I'm just the distraction." And then you hear behind Robotnik, "Hey, I'm a clone. I am a hologram."
Knuckles is like, I'm a hologram, and he like goes into charge at fucking Robotnik, and he ends up just decking him in the stomach because he's not a fucking hologram.
And so Knuckles decks him in the stomach, and it shoots the emerald out of Eggman, which I'm kind of going to
I have a problem with.
Well, I think I have an explanation for this. I believe in lore, like in the actual previous lore, when you're using chaos power, you actually have to put some thought and focus into it. So him being injured that badly...
Okay, yeah. All right. No, I see what you're saying. Because it gets hit, right? And it shows the emerald fly out of him. I had a problem with that. Because I was like, how does that happen? Like, Sonic gets hurt as Super Sonic in the games a lot. And you don't see the emeralds fly out of him.
Yeah.
But like you said...
I think it's to retain Chaos 4.
Well, they're stronger creatures.
Yeah. Yeah, that too.
So, like, they can handle more endurance.
Yeah.
And so when Robotnik gets punched by Knuckles, like, it shows a scene of him, like, on the ground, like...
yeah, he's on the ground, holding his stomach like, in, like, fetal position, like...
heaving. Yeah. He's in pain. So, he might have just lost the thought of, like, controlling the power.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Well, not only that, but this is a new power that he had like never like thought of holding. So that's not even like a thought in his head.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I have to keep this in control.
It makes more sense now that you explain.
Yeah, and so the robot loses its energy because it was running off of the Master Emerald coming from Eggman.
So he gains manual control.
Yeah. Well, the robot falls over, and when it hits the ground and falls over,
Emerald falls
the
out.
Master Emerald gets rolled out, and it's a few feet from Sonic. And Sonic is all battered, and he's like trying to like get up and get the will
like,
to like
Robotnik
get it.
at this point is like using manual control.
Yeah,
he's
and
like,
then so he turns on the robot. Yeah,
and he's like controlling it himself at this point, like with fucking buttons. So it's like walking slowly.
Yeah,
and Sonic's walking slowly towards this emerald. So it's a chase.
Yeah, and so emerald. Sonic gets to the emerald and he grabs it and he goes to pick it up. And Eggman's robot's about to crush Sonic, and Sonic's family,
And
Tom
and
Pretzel
Waffle Girl,
Lady.
or Pretzel Girl, or whatever the fuck.
They grab him and scoop him up right before he gets crushed, but Eggman, like, shoots something, or he does something to, like, tip over the vehicle, and it, like, crashes.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting there, and the robot is walking back, and Sonic tells them, he's like, you guys gotta go, you guys can't be here.
Yeah, and they're like, no, we're family.
Yeah, we're family, we're gonna stay here, and Sonic's holding the Master Emerald, and it crumbles apart.
Yeah.
It just falls, cracks,
like,
and
fades.
shatters. And when it does that, all 7 Chaos Emeralds fall out of them as well.
But they don't focus that.
No, they don't.
You just see it crumble with the rest of the shards.
Yeah.
In his hands in a full-scale frame.
And
so it's
Sonic
something
thinks
you
it's just
notice.
broken. Yeah.
It's something you as the viewer notice.
Yeah, but
which is
they don't.
awesome.
They don't, because they just think, oh, it's broken.
It's broken.
It's messed up. And so Eggman's about to step on him, and when that family scene happens, you see the emeralds start floating, and then they do the spiral, and then they sink into Sonic. And then you see the foot land on him.
Which you asked me at the beginning of the movie. You right when this movie started, you're like, you think they're gonna go Supersonic?
Yeah,
Super Saiyan Sonic.
It's
I was
because
like,
when they introduce,
yeah, they're gonna use Supersonic. It's the second Sonic movie.
Yeah, and so it cuts. Which Supersonic in this movie looked amazing. They did such a good job.
Oh yeah.
And so the foot, it cuts back to the foot, like what's happening underneath it, and
he's
there's a
lifting
golden glow.
Yeah.
And Sonic's holding it up while his is basically mom and dad are like laying on the ground, like looking up at it, like, oh my god. And so Sonic just goes full blown, just badass, takes the foot off, and then goes up, like saws the head off the robot, revealing Robotnik. And Robotnik's
and he just
like,
flies through it.
Yeah, and Robotnik looks at him and he was like, no, like, freaking out. This is not how you're gonna beat me. And he takes control again of where his movements. And he goes to punch Sonic, and Sonic just catches it like it's nothing. The robot catches the punch, and then he just shatters it.
Yeah, which was a cool scene.
Yeah.
Because the momentum of that fist and the way he, stopped it,
yeah,
you feel that impact of, that should have flown him back.
Yeah.
and that, vibration you get from screen, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
I commend this movie.
Yeah, and then he goes to hit him with the other arm, and same thing, it just gets instantly stopped, and Sonic shatters it. And then Sonic goes down, and he starts just impaling the robot.
Flying through it Superman style.
Yeah. And then he just kicks it over.
At the end of it, he, flies up to the top of the robot, and he's like, oh yeah? How's that all? And he, puts his foot on it, and, it starts tipping. It's like, oh, so that's how it's gonna be. He just, fucking falls back.
Yeah.
He's dead.
And then he falls back
dead.
and crashes. That's the end of Eggman. It doesn't show him anymore. But Sonic comes back down, and his family tries to go running towards him, and Knuckles stops him.
It's he's not the same Sonic you knew from before.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. He's not the same Sonic.
And then he's just you see clouds appear, and a fucking lightning bolt comes down, hits his hand, and you see a chili dog in there.
Yeah.
And he just eats it in three. He eats it like how I eat a hot dog.
Just
fucking three bites, And he's like, you guys want one? You gotta try this. And he fucking brings down another one. Knuckles is like, yep, never mind. He's the same Sonic.
The same Sonic.
It just hits him in the face. Those two hot dogs that he brought down just fucking hit him square in the face.
And then so Sonic ends up turning off the Chaos Power, and you see the emeralds kind of fall out of him. And there's a humble family scene with Tails, Sonic, and the two, Tom and his wife. And then it cuts back to Knuckles, who's holding the 7 emeralds and pieces of the Master, and he just forces them together, and he rebuilds the Master,
which is cool as fuck.
Yeah, which Sonic was like, "Oh my god, you fixed it," and Knuckles was like, "Yeah, well,
it's my mission.
I've been trained, and it's my mission to protect this."
Yeah.
And so they make an oath, and Knuckles is like, "Yes, you guys are my new tribe.
Yeah, and we're the guardians of this Master Emerald."
Yeah. And it goes from there, and then
awesome way to set up the rest of the Sonic universe, because now anything can happen.
And then there's a really funny scene where they're all playing baseball at the very end.
Yeah, they're all. It's a good wholesome scene. Yeah. It's a good wholesome scene.
So they're all playing baseball together, and Sonic's doing commentary over it, along with being the catcher. And Knuckles is up to bat, and he was like, "So why am I using this?" And he's like, "You use it to hit the ball." And he's like, "But why am I mad at the ball?" And he goes, "No, you just try to hit the ball as hard as you can." And Knuckles is like, "Okay, whatever." And Tails is like, "All right, you're gonna I'm going to throw this ball and you're not going to hit anything. And Knuckles like, I can catch your puny pitch. And Tails does a fastball and Knuckles, instead of using the bat, just full of blow, just punches the fucking ball.
Yeah, he just fucking lets the bat go in his other hand, just fucking punches it,
Yeah.
and it goes flying. It almost hits Tails.
Yeah.
He ducks, it goes through the scoreboard, and he makes a home run.
Yeah.
But I want to point out that in the beginning of this film, when Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails first fight each other, and Tails, like, grabs them in that fucking, like, what do you call that? It's like a grappling hook.
Thing?
It's like a grappling hook, but for humans, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it just wraps them up. I forget what they're fucking called. But when he did that to Knuckles, Knuckles was like, he's like, I'm sorry for doing that. He's like, I will get you back.
Yeah, when you least expect it.
When you least expect it,
was
he's on the
probably
plane, and yeah, like, I thought that was hilarious. Like, that was full on supposed to get Tails.
Yeah.
Like, he was not expecting it to hit anybody else. He was like, I just want to get Tails with this. And it almost hits him. He just ducks out of the way.
Yeah.
But I thought that was another really cool, subtle moment.
Yeah.
That could have fucking harkened back to the fucking beginning of the movie.
Exactly. And so they end up, like, just having, like, whole funny scene with
Knuckles is like stealing base. He takes the first base. He's like, I've taken the first base. He goes to the second one. He's like, I have taken your second base.
And they go, they're like, okay, that was the ball. Well, we're all going to go get ice cream. And Knuckles is like, what's ice cream?
He's like, is there grapes in it?
Is there grapes in it? And they all go to the car, and Knuckles is like, oh, my winning chariot awaits. And he just body slams
into the fucking bed of the truck. Yeah. And that was the end of the movie.
Well, and then we get the end credit scene.
Yep.
So there's an end credit scene where the military that they've kind of been dealing with as well.
They're cleaning up the procedure.
They're cleaning up the whole Robotnik thing, and
Yep.
they say, you know, with this much of a mess, I'm surprised there's no bodies.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Which is dumb.
Yeah. So Robotnik,
you don't pull up a body and say there's like.
Yeah. Well, they don't have Robotnik's body, and they're kind of searching for him or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, you couldn't have survived that.
And they pull up a
The guy
they
like
pull
pulls...
up like a book, and he goes, "Hey, check this out. There's a old project. It's called. It was created like 50 years ago. It's called Project Shadow, and it cuts to Shadow the Hedgehog coming out of a tube.
Yeah, in a lab covered in snow.
Yeah, and he opens his eyes, and then it cuts out, and I was like, Shadow.
Before that happened, before the end credits scene even happened, like during the last fight, Cameron turned to me. He was like, "What if the end credits scene is Robotnik revealing Shadow in the projects?" And I was like, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're gonna go that far yet. And in my head, I was like, if they don't, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and they fully took it.
Oh, they took, dude.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was one of the most badass
I even heard some of the kids in the theater, that's Shadow!
Yeah, that's Shadow!
And I was like, that's awesome.
Yep. So, like, Shadow's going to be in the third movie. I'm excited to see him.
I'm excited to see him, too. I feel like Shadow... I was talking to Kevin about it, because we were trying to, like, think about, like, how he would play a part. Because, like, Shadow's original lore was he was created by Dr. Eggman's father, who was Dr. Robotnik, because Eggman is his own, like, thing beforehand, but Robotnik had created Shadow to combat Sonic, basically. So I was talking to Kevin about this, and I was like, I wonder if Shadow was a member of Sonic's race that the Owls had on standby, because that temple has been there for years before Sonic was chosen to be its guardian. So I wonder if Shadow was their standby guardian to protect it, and Shadow's now being awoken because the Master Emerald's been moved.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. With the way they're playing out this movie, it makes sense.
Yeah. And so I feel like the new enemy, I feel like they may not go Robotnik again. Like they
I don't think Shadow's going to be an enemy. I think
he's going to be an enemy at first.
I think it's going to be as predictable as this movie was in the sense of like how it plays out. Like Shadow's going to be the enemy. I guarantee you.
I don't think Shadow's going to 100% come on their side.
If any subscriber wants to combat me on these theories, I will bet money on it, and I will fucking give you money.
With all the stories that have been with Shadow, like beforehand in the Shadow Hedgehog games and the animated series.
It's Maria. That's his backstory. Like, I had to protect Maria.
That's in Shadow the Hedgehog. In the animated series Sonic X.
No, Maria was a part of Sonic X.
I don't remember.
He was originally created to protect, I think, the president's daughter, who was Maria, and sent on a space program to like find new life.
That was all the video game.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
what
not
I'm.
in
That's
Sonic
what.
X. They did not talk about that in Sonic X. The arc is not Sonic. Is not
I'm
in
pretty
Sonic.
sure he mentioned Maria in Sonic X.
He may have, but it wasn't the same. I don't think Shadow did. I think the president did.
I'm pretty sure
But-
Shadow himself was like, I was an original protector for a girl named Maria. I'm pretty sure, because, like, I saw Sonic X
I'll have to look
at Shadow and Sonic X once. We had this conversation. You're like, there's a whole special with Shadow. And I was like, I know what you're talking about. And I explained, like, the whole episode that I saw with Shadow. And you were like, no, that's not what happens. The whole movie I'm talking about is this. And I was like, oh. Well, I didn't. I've never seen that special of Sonic X.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Maria, Maria's Robotnik's kid.
Yeah, okay.
Maria
All right.
Robotnik.
Yep.
Is a character that appears in Sonic X. She was a young human and granddaughter from General Robotnik and the cousin of Dr. Eggman.
And Robotnik created Shadow to protect her.
General Robotnik was her grandfather, and Dr. Eggman is her cousin. But I got people calling. I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah, well, we'll wrap it up here.
All right.
That was what would you rate this?
We said 8. I gave it an 8. You said 7, 8.
Yeah, yep,
Yep.
we did. I'll give it an 8. 8 out of 10. Well, that was our episode, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Pipeline Podcast. Stay tuned.